Hey everybody, I just want to show you my new ukulele, and I want to apologize for anybody if I slip back and forth from saying ukulele to ukulele. Old habits are hard to break, right? However, this is my new uke. I have a hard time saying ook. Being Ukester Brown, I'm not Ukester Brown, so it's kind of a mainland thing, and apologize, don't want to offend anybody with this new ukulele, because this new ukulele, my new uke, is gorgeous. This is a Bruko. The only mark that they have that they made it is right inside. It's burned in the back. And the headstock is plain. There's no other markings of who made it other than what's inside. Now this ukulele is got a very simple elegance to it, and I'll point it out to you here. The neck is maple and walnut. Very simple tuners that hold their tune. There's an option for a geared one that I decided to get these because I'm going to upgrade my own. It's got a walnut fingerboard, and I think it has a very pretty grain in there. I think as it ages, it's going to get even better with the fingerprint patina from Human Oils being on there. A black plastic, at least I'm assuming they're plastic fret markers on the front. That's what the binding is too. Very beautiful spruce top. The spruce grain is just extremely tight. It's a wonderful spruce top. Forgot if I said a walnut bridge. Cherry back and sides, and what's wonderful about this is a one-piece sides. You can see there's no seam, no tail piece there. All the way around, it's one piece of cherry. The back is also cherry book matched, and you can see that it's got a wonderful arch on it. Just fantastic arch. Try to get it here so you can see it. There you go. Maybe it's a baby bump. And a simple rosette. So to me, it's a very elegant looking ukulele. My new uke is. Now here's a couple things that I'm going to, my only suggestion to the company is this, that I miss on this ukulele. And that is there are no side markers. And I prefer side markers over front markers because as I was playing, you probably noticed me looking like this because I was trying to watch the front markers. But if you have top markers, you don't need to be looking around to see where you're at. And of course, as you get better with skill, you don't really need them at all too much. But I'm going to remedy that with a simple Sharpie mark. I'll probably put one on the 3rd, 5th, and 7th, just a little dot. And being that it'll be black, you won't be able to tell the difference. And if I do a neat enough little circle anyway, you won't be able to tell. Two things I'm going to upgrade on my own, and that's why I got the the standard tuners. They do offer another tuner option, that is a geared tuner, but they're a geared tuner with the tuning knobs on the outside, and it's an aesthetic thing for me, but I don't like that look. If you do, that's your opinion. But for my ukuleles, I prefer a back tuning peg, and so I'm going with the Goto geared tuners with a black knob. And I'm going to be, this is their standard in-house strings that they use, and I forget which brand they are. They're a very tight fluorocarbon, have a nice bright clear sound, but I'm going to be changing out to Fremont black mediums. And I'm gonna segue out here with a little bit of a sound sample, and then when I make those changes, you'll be able to see there's going to be a slight transition here. I'll probably be wearing a different shirt, but then you'll be able to hear directly into the new changes with the new strings, how it sounds with the different strings. Again, these are all personal tastes, but I think this is a wonderful uke. It's wonderfully made. Some people get upset with the glue residue. There's a smidge of glue residue in here at the kerfling, but you know what? That kerfling to me also looks house-made. It's not bought on a big roll because there are no grooves cut in this to make it easier to bend around the inside. And to me, it looks like what they used inside is a strip of curly maple. So to me, that looks like they used shop leftovers to make their own kerfling. If you don't know anything about the company, they also make violins, but other than ukuleles, and pretty long history, like over 100 years, I believe, or about 100 years maybe. I guess that's all I got to say about it, other than I'm not sure what the nut is made out of, but I don't know if you can see the nut, but that's even got kind of a sandwiched detail to it. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'll give you a little, what I call kind of a German music box sound here, and when we segue into the new piece, hopefully it will go somewhat flawless, but you'll be able to hear the difference between these strings and the Fremont black mediums. And so here we go, and I'll catch you in a few minutes or a couple weeks when I'm done with the other portion of the video. Bruko Ukulele. So it's been at least 3 weeks or so since I did that other portion of the video. Hopefully you could hear a little bit of transition difference with the this ukulele, this Bruko Ukulele, I think is how they say it in Germany, made in Germany. Anyway, I did all the specifics before on the other part, so I'm not going to go over all that part again, or at least I'll try not to. But I have put on the new strings. These are the Fremont Black mediums that I've kind of taken a fancy towards. And I also upgraded to the Goto geared tuners on this, which, as you can tell, really didn't change the balance much at all. They don't add a lot of weight, but they do add the efficiency and the proper aesthetic, for my opinion, to it. Now, one thing that this, I'll just play another sound sample a little bit with these strings. So you can hear in the upper registers a little bit how they sound. But one thing that's really interesting about this instrument, in my mind, is that I don't know if you've played with tunings very much. I don't mess around with tunings. I don't mess around with strings too much. If I find a set of strings I like, I tend to stick to them. And if somebody says they like a set of strings, it might take me a long time before I try them. The reason why I got onto the Fremont Black Mediums is because when I bought my Kamaka, I happened to take it to Michigan when I went to Mighty Uke Day a few years ago, and I took it into Elderly Instruments there, and I forget his first name, but his last name is Wilson, great harmonica player, but he's also works there as an instrumentalist, knows ukuleles, and he suggested them for my Kamaka, and I really, really liked them on my Kamaka. So I tried them on other instruments, and I liked them also. And so that's why I put them on here. Now, what I got going about saying about the tuning is I don't mess around with tunings very much, but I was working on this little riff that I'm, for this one song that I'm working on, and I couldn't sing, it wasn't fitting in my register, so instead of transposing it, I just started tuning it down, and I didn't have my tuner even on at the time to know how far low I had tuned it. But now I've got my tuner on here because now I know where I was tuning it to, so I'm trying to get it here for you to be able to hear something that happens kind of interesting. And I've tried it since with other ukuleles to see how they sound. Hope I didn't bore you too much there with that tuning, but now it is tuned F, A sharp, D, G. One whole step down. And in my mind, this is where this particular ukulele, this ukulele, uke, takes a different turn. I love this tuning on this ukulele. I've tried tuning my other ones down just now, recently, to see how they would take it, and they do not like it. And I'll show you on those how they sound. And I don't want to get this too long, so I'll try to get it out here. But listen to the harmonics, what happens here. And I'll play just a little bit of that music box thing. I think it sounds fantastic at this tuning. Not to say it doesn't sound good at the other tuning, but this low tuning is kind of interesting because the ukulele was made to be tuned higher. And so a lot of instruments, a lot of ukuleles will sound better even tuned higher than C because the vintage ones were tuned a step higher. This one, however, takes the tuning lower very well. Now, that being said, just seems to ring forever. Still going. There, now I can't hear it anymore. So it resonates for a long time, and the intonation is very good at that tuning for that particular instrument. Now this is another instrument that I have. This is my Vanity Ukulele. As you can tell, it's got my name in there, and it's patterned after an old Regal instrument. That's why I was able to have my builder get the, see it very well. It's got my last name in there in the same script as Regal would have said. So this is, my son will inherit this whether he wants it or not, but he wants it. Spruce top. Now the difference with this one is it's got a rosewood back and sides, some vintage rosewood, and but it's got the same Fremont strings and tuned up. Here it's standard tuning. Now, to your ear, going through my little condenser mic, that may not sound much different than that particular instrument. Tuned at this tuning, this particular instrument shines much brighter, is much bigger presence than the Bruko. Now, that being said, this is not a standard soprano, nor is it a long neck soprano. This is a Kepasa instrument made by Kevin Crossett. And you can look him up if you want to. Kepasa, Kepasa. And I have two of his ukuleles. I really like them. I'd like to have him make me another one. But it's kind of a mezzo soprano. It's based on the old Domino ukulele size. So I'll hold them up here, and you can kind of see how big it is. There it is, nut to nut, and you can see it's not quite as long. But it's longer than a standard soprano. If you're familiar with the fluke and the flea, this is based on the scale of a flea, slightly larger than a soprano and smaller than a concert. So it's kind of a mezzo soprano. It's a little bigger, and I had it built 1.5 inch at the nut, which makes all the difference in the world. Also, one thing I'll make note of the Bruko is the strings tend to push the outer limits of the fingerboard a little bit. And you'll feel that under your fingers a tad. That being said, this one sounds great at its standard tuning, and it sounds great tuned up. But now I'm going to tune it down, and be patient with me here, but I'm just trying to really show you where the Bruko, in my mind, is a totally different kind of critter. And I'm going to tune this down just like the other one was tuned. I have the Goto tuners on here too. Now, that is tuned the same step down, just like that I had the Bruko. Now listen to this, and maybe you'll be able to hear it, maybe you won't. I can't play it anymore. It's harmonically, it just does not like this lower tuning at all. Even though it's very similarly constructed as far as a spruce top and a nice tight grain spruce, just like the Bruko. And now I want to show you another thing. Now this is my Kamaka, and this is a long neck soprano. And when you hold it up, I'll take the tuner off here. When you hold it up, nut to nut, you can see that the Kamaka is just a tad longer, not much longer. So just slightly bigger scale, and the body of the Kamaka is probably about this, just a little bit bigger body, about the same thickness without looking at measurements, but it doesn't have the arched back. It has a rounded back, same as my composite. Now this is tuned down. Tuned up sounds fantastic. I love this instrument. Again, the Kamaka comes standard with the Goto geared. I love the geared tuners like that. But here it is tuned down a step from GCEA. And I have to stop. I don't know if you can hear the difference or not. And I hope I'm not boring you tediously with this demonstration. But I love this ukulele. Tuned down, no way. GCEA, I love it. And I will never get rid of this instrument. I'll never get rid of my Vanity one until I croak. My son will get that. That being said, in my mind, this is going to stay in my collection for a long time because it has this special niche of this lower tuning that it just shines with. It just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, and I don't know what happens harmonically between this one and the rest of them, and perhaps it's that arched back, that domed back, if you will, that makes the sounds meld better. I have no idea what engineering or what happens to the sound in this instrument that's different than my other instruments. But tuned down, this one just shines. Now let me grab my Vanity uke here. You can hear this C string just dominate. It just wants to keep ringing. If you put all four of them together and something happens that's not right. Maybe I'm really beating a dead horse, but this is where this instrument, in my mind, is totally different than any other ukuleles I have. Beautiful. Anyway, this has found a niche in my collection, and I'll keep it for a long time. Perhaps at some point in time I will find a new home for it, and who knows how I will do that, but I will have this for a long time because it's definitely found a niche. It's a wonderfully made instrument. I'd covered all that in the previous video, but I wanted to show you how sonically I discovered something that was totally different. Is it as loud as my other ukuleles? No, not even tuned as high. It is very nice and loud. It has a nice volume, but my other ukes are built specifically a different way. This one especially, Kevin knew how I wanted it built, how I play, and he built it so that it would sound good the way I play. That's the difference. Plus, this ukulele was 2.5 times more money than this one. So, not that always guarantees a different sounding ukulele, but when you have a person build you, a luthier build you a ukulele to a certain specification, it's going to sound differently. This is what I would consider Bruko's off the rack, spruce top, cherry back and sides, maple, walnut, off the rack ukulele. There is nothing necessarily custom about this, but it's handmade. It's a wonderful instrument. Do I regret buying it? No, not at all. It's just that I want to stress that this has really found a neat place in my collection with this lower tuning. Have a great day. I hope I haven't bored you silly, but Bruko, check them out, especially if you're in Europe. One of these should be in your collections because you're not going to have to pay the exorbitant shipping rate. Perhaps you could even visit their factory and pick one up. I also know that my friends Jim and Donna down at Uke Republic, occasionally they carry Brukos. And so if you're interested in one, see if they have one in stock. Check out Uke Republic down near Atlanta, a little suburb town of Atlanta down there. Also, if you're down in that area, go visit the store. Fantastic people, fantastic store. But they carry Brukos occasionally. So, wonderful instrument. Enough said. Have a great day.